Hey guys, Dan for World, Mr. A. Dandalf the Grey. Being as this a nice Saturday morning, I'm fresh as a daisy. I didn't go out last night, so that's why I'm all fresh and spring chicken. I thought we'd have a little game. It's not a game, but you know, whatever. I can't finish my hedge because it's pissing down with rain. So I thought I'm going to ask AI what they think of the paranormal. But before we do, I just want to actually see where it comes up with a song if I ask it. Do you know a song? Do you know a quick song about ghosts? In the dark they start to roam, whispers soft, you're not alone. Shadows dance across the floor, ghostly hands knock at your door. Ghost in the night, drift into the air, flickering lights, they're everywhere. Don't be afraid, they just want to play, dancing around till the break of day. Right, anyway, what I plan to do is I'm going to ask GPT, what he thinks of the paranormal. Do you know anything about the paranormal? I think this is going to be fun. Yes, the paranormal refers to the phenomena that are outside of the scope of normal scientific understanding or explanation, often linked to supernatural elements. This can include a variety of experiences or beliefs, such as ghosts and spirits, apparitions, hauntings, or the presence of entities from the afterlife. Poltergeist, spirits believed to cause physical disturbance like objects moving or strange noises. UFOs and extraterrestrial life. Sightings of unidentified flying objects, alien encounters, and abduction stories. Basically, poking things in the bum. Psychic phenomena, telepathy, clairvoyance, precognition, or other extrasensory perceptions. Cryptids. The other day I couldn't explain what cryptids were, I just said they're like animals we couldn't document or something, but this is a better explanation. Mythical creatures like Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, Mothman, and others that are said to exist but lack scientific evidence. You're into the time slips and parallel dimensions. Reports of people experiencing shifts in time or interacting with other realities. Demonic possession. In some religious or cultural beliefs, it's the idea that spirits or demons can control a person's body or mind. What aspects of the paranormal are you interested in? What is the first ever recorded haunting? The first recorded haunting dates back to ancient Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, around 1500 BCE. The story is found on a clay tablet known as the Epic of Gilgamesh. I actually read excerpts from that Epic of Gilgamesh when I was researching a video a long time ago. Can't remember much about it, but I have looked into the Epics of Gilgamesh. It's a very interesting read. And other ancient Mesopotamian writings with references which reference spirits and ghosts. However, one of the more detailed ancient ghost stories come from ancient Greece, recorded by the Roman author Pliny the Younger. Have you heard of him? In the 1st century CE, in Pliny's letters, he describes a haunting in Athens that involved a ghost of an old man with a long beard shackled in chains. This apparition haunted a house by appearing at night, rattling chains and scaring the inhabitants. The story goes that a philosopher, Athenodorus, rented the house to investigate. He saw the ghost, followed it to a spot in the courtyard, and the next day a body in chains was discovered buried there. Once the remains were given a proper burial, the hauntings stopped. Spooky. The ancient account is often regarded as one of the first classic ghost stories in Western literature and set the tone for many ghostly tales to come. Does this type of haunting interest in you? Yes, it does. But what is the modern recorded haunting? The first modern recorded haunting is often considered to be the haunting of the Phelps Mansion. I've heard of that, in Stratford, Connecticut, which took place in 1850. This haunting involved the family of Reverend Eliakim Phelps, a minister and well-respected figure in the community, which made the story particularly sensational at the time. Reverend Phelps and his family moved into their newly purchased mansion, which was a large, elegant house. Almost immediately after moving in, strange events began occurring. The haunting reportedly involved a wide range of poltergeist activity. Objects moving, furniture was seen shifting on its own, and objects like plates and books would fly across the room. Unexplained bangs, knocks and footsteps echoed throughout the house, often with no source. Ghostly figures were seen in the house, and at times the family claimed to witness shadowy forms. Shadow dude, take that off the board. Mysterious messages were found written on walls and surfaces, adding a layer of eerie communication. One of the most notable aspects of the haunting was the activity surrounding Phelps' children, particularly his son, which is a common theme in later poltergeist cases. Children would find objects placed in strange locations, and they even claimed to have witnessed objects hovering in midair. The case gained national attention, and newspapers across the country reported on the strange happenings at the Phelps mansion. Many skeptics, including scientists and investigators, came to debunk the haunting, but the family continued to insist that what they were experiencing was real. Do you think it's real? Do you think it's real? Give me something, chat. When it comes to hauntings like the Phelps Mansion case, it's tricky to say definitively whether they are real because their phenomena can be interpreted in many ways. Here's how different perspectives might approach it. Skeptical scientific view. Psychological factors. Many hauntings, particularly those involving children, might be explained by psychological factors like mass hysteria or suggestibility, where a group of people believe something is happening due to a strong suggestion from someone else, often a leader or authority figure like Reverend Phelps. That is often the case in a lot of hauntings. I personally believe, and like it's a worldwide thought, that when it comes to the majority of hauntings, it comes down to your beliefs, it comes down to suggestibility, and you know, if you are deeply religious, and this ain't knocking religion by the way before I go any further, but if you are deeply religious and you think I might be getting possessed by a demon or whatever, or you know, I might be haunted by an angry spirit, that is what we call bias confirmation. You're basically confirming your own beliefs, and you think, hang on, I think I'm getting haunted. What is that knock in the distance? You know, so I think that is a high possibility of majority of people who say they experience hauntings. Not all of them, maybe it's something else, you don't know. But when it comes to that kind of stuff, I do believe in the power of suggestion. It's the simple way of saying, you know, don't think of a large elephant. No, you're thinking of a large elephant. Do not think you're getting haunted in your house at night when everything is dark and creepy and you're all alone and your foot is hanging over the bed. That's the most terrifying part of it all. There is 100% an angry spirit sitting at the bottom of your bed, staring at you, just waiting for you to fall asleep so it can grab your foot that you got dangling outside the bed. Why would you do that? But I do believe in the power of suggestion. Environmental factors. Some researchers suggest that environmental conditions like infrasound, low-frequency sound waves, or electromagnetic fields can trigger feelings of unease, fear, and even visual hallucinations, which could be interpreted as hauntings. Infrasound tests, or experiments I should say, have been done since the mid-1970s on paranormal. I'm talking in the context of paranormal now. And they have done this. You've even had some paranormal groups in the, like, say, the late 90s, 2000s to early 2000s. They did this. They pumped infrasound into a room. Didn't tell, you know, the people going into this haunted house, supposedly a haunted house, I should say. And as the group were walking around this house, they had a mild suggestion that yes, it's possibly haunted. That was the power of suggestion in the first place. Now, this house, they did it. I'll have to find it. I can't remember where this... I unfortunately can't remember where I saw this documentary, but the house was just a house. But this group of people were given the suggestion that, you know, families have lived here over the years and they've experienced things during the night. You know, things have been thrown, things have been moved. They've heard voices, they've heard footsteps. This was all suggested to this group before they went into this house. Like I said, they had all these rooms. I think it was like a 5-bedroom house. I will have to try and track that down because it was really good. And in one room, obviously without telling the group, they pumped infrasound into it. And lo and behold, I think it was about 80 to 90% of the group went into that room and said, I feel uneasy here. There's something in this room. The other rooms, they didn't. But that's the power of environmental conditions. They can affect the way you feel, your moods, and that uneasy feeling. It sets off your little spidey senses. We all have those little spidey senses. We've had it since our caveman days. I know it's a stupid analogy, but we all have that. We can all sense a mood. You go into a pub. It's a nice jolly pub. You think, oh, it's a nice pub. You go into a pub and you look over to the corner and you just see a few massive, humongous people sitting there, looking like that. You think, this isn't good. I've been to many pubs like that. But we as humans are preconditioned through evolution to sense the mood, sense the atmosphere, environment we are in, whether that fight or flight danger. That's the sense we've always had. It's not a sixth sense. It's just it's a conditioning of the mind we've always had, or we've had throughout the evolutionary years. Environmental factors in hauntings do contribute to those little spidey senses, we'll call it, right? So it's really interesting, that kind of stuff. It's very interesting when you look into that things and all the experiments done over the years. It's very interesting. But we'll continue. Fraud or misunderstanding. Skeptics often point to hoaxes, misunderstandings, or exaggerations, especially when paranormal claims gain media attention. In the case of the Feld smashing, it's possible that some of the events were embellished or misinterpreted. Obviously, as a skeptic, and in the debunking community, we get a lot of shit for pointing out the bollocks. It's just a fact of life. We get a lot of shit for pointing out the bollocks. And people get angry at us because we are blowing their conception of the group they follow, or the channel they have found. I'm talking the YouTube sense now, obviously. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking the YouTube sense. When you show something to be fake or misunderstood, majority of the time, like, oh, I'm glad he showed us that. But then you'll get a small group saying, how dare you? How bloody well dare you? They're the most realist things on this planet when it comes to all the hauntings. You look at the really hauntings chats, or comments section, I should say. There's people in there praying for his family every single bloody day. The embellishment and misinterpretation of hauntings in general is a big problem, if you ask me. Embellishment happens a lot. It's happened in majority of the most famous cases over the years, like the Enfield ghost. The daughters were saying they're haunted, and the daughter got caught jumping off the beds in by a camera which was set to go off at intervals. They've looked at body experts, who said she jumped off the bed. She definitely looks like she just jumped off the bed. The voice that comes out of her, of the ghost called Bill, I think it was, just sounds like a kid putting on a voice.
How many voices are there?
600.
600 voices.
I know the joke.
That's all there is. But when I was a kid, I had a ghost book, and I first read about the Enfield ghost. It scared the crap out of me. And I had to put it down many times before I finished that story. But as the years went on, I remember that story, and I still see that same story. I got that book somewhere in a box in an attic somewhere. That story embellished so much from the actual events that happened in that house, the Enfield haunting I'm talking about. And it's not just that, it's the majority of hauntings throughout the years have been totally embellished. The Warrens have embellished a lot of stuff. I'm not hating on them, rest in peace on all that, but they embellished a lot of stuff throughout the history of throughout their cases, I should say. There's a lot of incentive to embellish stuff, especially if you want that notoriety, that fame and fortune, which a lot of them do. They do want that. When the media gets involved, that's when it changes from I heard a knock at night to things are being thrown at me at a demonic pace. It happens a lot, and that is unfortunately a problem. Misinterpretations also happen a lot, and I think misinterpreting something, I think in the context of YouTube at least, is a massive problem. I think it's down to a couple of factors. It's their inexperience with technology. They're using all kinds of technology now to say, this is contacting ghosts. It's not. Don't get me started on Connect. Phone apps are just phone apps for entertainment. They do nothing. I don't care if it's GhostTube, Necrophonic, Ghost Talker, Ghost Walk. I don't know what the hell they called after them. They're all just gimmicky apps made by someone who just want to put something out. Look, this talks to ghosts. It doesn't. But I'm digressing. Misinterpreting something if you think you're in a haunted house. And again, this comes down to confirming bias confirmation, and obviously leaning on the beliefs of that person. And yeah, misinterpreting is also a big problem in the paranormal in general. Open-minded perspective. It's possible to approach cases like this with an open mind, acknowledging that while many hauntings can be debunked or explained by science, there are still mysteries that science can't fully explain. Open-minded perspective, that's where I mainly usually sit in. That's the seat I sit in. I say this all the time, I'm a skeptic. I believe in the laws of physics, I follow the book of science. But I am open to possibilities. I say this every time. I am open to the possibilities that science doesn't know everything. But when it comes to the paranormal, nothing scientifically has ever been proven yet. In fact, I'm going to ask AI that right now. Has there ever been, oh my god, I can't speak, been anything that may possibly prove the existence of ghosts? There's never been definitive scientific proof that ghosts exist, but there have been many cases where phenomena are interpreted as possible evidence of the paranormal. Here are some examples of the most compelling kinds of evidence that has been gathered over time, though none are conclusive in the scientific sense. EVP. I have a big problem with EVP, electronic voice phenomena. EVP are unexplained voices or sounds that are captured on audio recordings, which some believe are the voices of spirits or ghosts trying to communicate. These sounds are often not heard at the time of recording but are later discovered when reviewing the audio. Credibility. While some people find EVPs compelling, skeptics argue that they may be the result of pareidolia, the brain interpreting random sounds as familiar patterns like speech or interference from radio signals or electronic devices. My problem with EVPs over the years, and this is not just a YouTube problem, it's been since I was a kid, you know, looking up stuff, reading about stuff, getting audio clips from the library. There was this audio clips in this library I used to go to as a kid. It terrified me when I first heard my first ever EVP. But audible pareidolia is a real thing. The problem with the YouTube context of paranormal or ghost hunting, whatever, paranormal investigation, when they bring up the subject of EVPs, now obviously they'll sometimes have a recorder with them, or they'll be just, they have camera audio, and without them hearing it through the naked ear, we call it, they'll review the footage and they'll hear like a whisper or a groan or something. They will always put up the text on screen what they think it sounds like. But the problem is, because of suggestibility, see, going back to suggestibility again, as soon as you see that text, that is what your brain interprets that audio as saying. If you didn't have that text up on screen from, you know, these videos that say this is what the EVP is saying, you would probably come up with about 10 different phrases that voice is saying. That's the problem with audible pareidolia. And I think it is a very big problem when it comes to EVP. The other problem is the recorders they use, and Steve from the Ouija Brothers actually made an excellent video on this a couple of years ago. I'll try and find it and link it down below, but he made a very good video about it. He has had one of his recorders, and he basically proved that a certain setting on that recorder at a certain frequency, your blood vessels could be pumping a bit too high, and the recorder would pick it up. It's that sensitive. So when you are out and about, and this is another problem when paranormal investigation, when it comes to EVPs, they'll always, you know, the group saying we've just picked up an EVP, they will always say none of us were speaking, none of us were moving. That's probably right. They're probably right. They probably weren't speaking, they probably weren't moving. But because of the sensitivity of those recorders, or just microphones in general now, they're just getting better and better. The slightest ruffle of your clothing, anything, you groaning or gargling, your throat croaking, that gets picked up by those recorders. I made a debunking video about a year and a half, 2 years ago on Beardo Gets Scared and the Ouija Brothers. I can't remember where they went. And in their video, there was I can't remember where, I think it was like a deep groan And they luckily, thankfully, they had many perspectives from Beardo's cameras, Steve's cameras, I think it was Griff's camera as well, and they uploaded them all. You know, fair play. I think it was on different channels. I can't remember. And I went in and I went to each and every perspective, and I determined that it was coming from Beardo. Right? Not on purpose, but you know, I figured it out that the sound was coming from, I think it was Beardo's camera. I can't remember the details of it, but basically it was Beardo's throat croaking. But because of, you know, they're all at night, it's all dark, they're all staying silent to have a response from what they're calling out to. They didn't pick that up, or they just didn't realize, because you don't realize your body makes many sounds. You hiccup, you clear your throat. You don't know how many times you do that a day. It's just one of those human things. So that's my problem with the EVPs. I know I was long-winded on that, but that is one of my problems with EVPs in any sense. And yeah, moving on. Photographic and video evidence. Over the years, many photographs have surfaced that seem to show ghostly figures, orbs, or light, or other unexplained visual anomalies. One famous example is the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, photographed in 1936. The image shows a translucent figure descending the staircase. That scared the crap out of me as a kid. Many of these images have been debunked as hoaxes, photographic errors, or tricks of the light. Some could be due to long exposure times, double exposure, or even dust and insects reflecting light. Video footage of ghostly figures is often explained similarly, though some still remain unexplained. I've made many videos on ghost photography, or spirit photography we'll call it. You can look these up yourself. The majority of the ghostly photos from, say, the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you can put majority of them down to double exposure, hoaxes, misunderstanding, you know, using the incorrect lighting and setting when taking a photograph or moving it. You know, especially with a long exposure. When you move a camera, it creates streaks and misty objects in the camera view. You can look it up. In a paranormal investigation sense, when you're taking photos with, what are those cameras called? Infrared cameras. I can't remember what they call now, but there's a term for the cameras. What do they call them? Spectral cameras? Spectre cameras? I don't know what they call them. But when they're taking photos moving around, you know, then they'll get like a misty object in one shot. A lot of the times it's their finger getting in the way, and obviously when the focus is 15 feet in front of you and your little finger gets right there, when you're in motion taking photographs, I know mine's not a good example right now, but that's the best I can do it. That's my little ghosty thumb right there, see it? Creates like a misty edge feathering around that object, and that's a lot of the photographs. When it comes to ghostly photographs, usually something really close to the camera, like a camera strap. Maybe it's like a little dangly thing on their wrist, their hair, fingers. It happens a lot. When it comes to orbs, it's always dust. It's always dust, and the reason why some of them actually look lighter than others is because it's the flash on the camera reflecting off the dust, and when, like, again, the focus is a couple of feet in front of you, when dust gets really close to the lens, it's what's the term? Refracts light off the dust, and that's why it makes it look bigger, because the focal length. There's a lot of reasons why you can't trust photographs, basically. Ghost hunting equipment, EMF detectors. Ghost hunters use electromagnetic field EMF detectors to measure changes in electromagnetic fields, which some believe are linked to the presence of spirits. One of them, basically. I bought this for a video, which I do plan on continuing. I know I haven't, that's just I've got really busy in work. That's an EMF detector, mainly known as a K2 meter. And this isn't an official one. It does the same job. I know people say, well, you should get the official one, it works better. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. There's no difference at all, other than probably build quality. But it does the same job. Thermal cameras, infrared or thermal cameras, are also used to detect cold spots, believed by some to indicate the presence of ghosts. Skeptics argue that EMF fluctuations can be caused by many non-paranormal sources, such as faulty wiring, electrical devices, or natural geomagnetic fields. I've gone over this many times in many videos, that it's not just electrical wiring, it's not just your phone in your pocket or your camera's pointing at the equipment. It's also the Earth's atmosphere gives off EMF. And it fluctuates throughout the day, in different parts of the world, through different times. Just the way EMF works. That's why you can't trust those meters. Obviously, if you're putting a picture painting on the wall and you want to check there's no wiring, yeah, use it. But when it comes to hunting ghosts, you can't trust it, unfortunately. And again, this goes to my other argument I always have. Who first came up with the idea that EMF is what ghosts are giving off? You always got to go back to that, but I'm going to continue. Similarly, temperature drops can be due to drafts or changes in air pressure, and cold spots don't necessarily indicate a ghostly presence. The stone tape theory. Before I read this, I actually want to point to Jenny Twig's most recent video about the stone tape theory. It's very interesting. I'll link it down below. Please go watch it. It's a very good video. The stone tape theory goes over some things that terrified me as a kid. The theory suggests that certain environments or objects like stone or water can record emotional or traumatic events which later replay as ghostly apparitions or sounds. The theory is named after 1972 BBC drama but has roots in older spiritualists' beliefs. The skeptical view. The idea lacks scientific support. While it's an interesting explanation for repeated hauntings, for example, someone seeing the same ghost walking through a hallway, there's no solid evidence that the environment can record or replay such events like a tape recorder. Unexplained events in controlled studies. Over the years, there have been scientific experiments aiming to detect paranormal activity, such as those conducted by the Society for Psychical Research. I think I said all right then. One notable experiment took place in the 1970s with the Philip experiment. I've made a video on this before, go check it out. Where a group of researchers tried to create a ghost by inventing a fictional character. Eventually they experienced poltergeist-like activity, which some believe might indicate the group belief or psychic energy can create paranormal phenomena. Skeptical view. These results are not widely accepted in mainstream science as they can be attributed to the power of suggestion, expectation, or group psychology rather than genuine ghostly activity. And this goes to the same with the Ouija board, table tipping, seances. Suggestion, again, plays a big role in those kind of things, like the Ouija board and table tipping stuff. If there's a group of people, they believe they're there to see a ghost or speak to a ghost, their hands are on the planchette. I'm not moving. I'm telling you, I'm not moving. They are moving it. It's just they're subconsciously moving it. Maybe not them at the time, but one of them in the group is moving it. They'll get an idea in their head, subconsciously in their head, that they're contacting a woman. You know, are you a woman? Or, you know, answer yes or no. And, you know, they'll move and then it'll go, whoops, yes. What is your name? The group will move the planchette around. Someone will subconsciously get a letter in an F. Okay, then it'll move to A. And then it'll move to I. And then the group know it's going to spell out faith. That's the power of suggestion. And like I said, even though they're being completely honest about it, ideomotor movement is the term they use when it's using the power of the subconscious mind to move that planchette to where they think it should go. Ideomotor movement is a real scientific phenomenon. The poltergeist phenomena. Poltergeist activity, objects moving, knocking sounds, is one of the most widely reported paranormal phenomena. Cases like the Enfield ghost in the UK attracted attention from both skeptics and paranormal investigations. Most poltergeist phenomena can be explained as pranks, psychological disturbances, or unconscious actions. In some cases, the people experiencing the haunting are moving objects without realizing it. However, some incidents remain difficult to explain, and that's true. One of the problems you have if you are a skeptic, you can't explain everything. You just can't explain everything in the world. You can't, right? And that's a fact. As much as we like to think we can, we can't. We can have a very good guess about it, hypothesis, theory, but you can't explain everything. And that's one of the things you got to remember when you look into not just paranormal, into anything. Space, the final frontier. But we don't know everything about that, but it's pretty bloody cool. Right, conclusion, because I'm harping on now. While many people believe in the existence of ghosts, based on these kind of evidence, there is no scientifically proven method to detect or prove ghosts. Paranormal phenomena are difficult to study under controlled conditions, and the available evidence is often anecdotal or subjective. Scientific investigations tend to explain most of these phenomena through psychology, environmental factors, or hoaxes. That said, unexplained occurrences continue to intrigue both believers and skeptics alike, and for many, personal experience are enough to fuel a belief in ghosts. That's one thing I always say as someone who is a skeptic, follows the scientific rule of law. When it comes to personal beliefs, You're not there. You don't know. You don't know. Because I get the comment now and again, you can't debunk my haunting. You're not there. No, I'm not there. So no, I definitely can't debunk it. You know? Personal experiences are something that are personal to the person experiencing them. I know it's a bit of word salad there, but that is what it is. And the final thing I want to ask AI is about YouTubers. Do you know any YouTubers who are paranormal investigators? Oops. There are several YouTubers who specialize in paranormal investigation, offering a mix of ghost hunts, exploration of haunted locations, and other supernatural content. Here are some of the most well-known paranormal investigations on YouTube. Sam and Colby. We've all seen Sam and Colby. A lot of people enjoy them. They do very well in their videos. I think they're highly suggestible myself. I think they've tried a bit of trickery in the past. There's videos out there. I think I pointed some out. Beetle pointed some out. Mythos Paranormal has definitely pointed them out. And they tend to, have an audience. And I'll move on. Sam Goldbach. I said that like a Welsh person. Probably not Goldbach. Is it Goldbach? And Colby Brock are perhaps some of the most popular YouTubers in paranormal genre. They visit haunted locations around the world, including abandoned asylums, prisons, and haunted houses. Their videos often feature collaborations with other paranormal YouTubers, and they use a range of ghost hunting equipment, such as spirit box and EMF detectors. Their style combines investigative curiosity with humor, and their videos have a cinematic storytelling feel. The Paranormal Files. Now, we always bloody say this, and I don't know why we give certain channels a pass, because they're very nice. Call in from the Paranormal channel. He seems like a nice dude. He seems like a decent bloke. He's done a lot of bollocks in his videos. It's a fact. It's a fact. It's not me thinking, oh, I think he has. It's a fact. There's been a lot of bollocks in his videos over the years. It's a fact. Go look him up. His most recent stuff are more like crime stuff. It's interesting, but I'm not going to sit down and watch a 4-hour video. I'm just not. I haven't got the time or the patience for that. But they're still using the paranormal stuff in their crime one. And some of the stuff Colin does in his Paranormal Files, I don't agree with, by the way. I do not agree with, like, say, his true crime stuff. Where they've gone to an area and they've tried to contact the ghost of the dead victim. I'm not a fan of that stuff because it's recent. If it's like a ghost from 200 years ago, go at it. If it's from like 2 or 3 years ago, I don't agree with that at all. But, that's just me. Ghost Adventures Crew, hosted by Zach Bagans, Aaron Goodwin, Billy Tolley, and Jay Wasley. Hang on, what's his name? Chat, you forgot about Zach Groff. Not Zach Groff. What's his name? Nick Groff. Hey, chat. Hang on. Hey, chat. You forgot. Oh my god. You forgot about Nick Groff in Ghost Adventures. What does he say about that? You're right, Nick Groff was a key figure in the early season of Ghost Adventures. He co-founded the show with Zach Bagans and Aaron Goodwin and was lead investigator from the show's inception in 2008 until his departure in 2014. Exploring with Josh got in with the wrong crew, started, believing their bullshit. Now he's back to exploring, I think. Twin Paranormal. Here's my opinions on Twin Paranormal. And, if you're a Twin Paranormal fan, get over it. Well, Twin Paranormal have been on my radar for almost 5 years. I remember when I first discovered Twin Paranormal. A couple of years ago, they had about 15,000 subs at the time. I was a channel probably like 1,000 subs or something like that, and I made a debunking video on them. And in the video, they blatantly tried to pull the wool over people's eyes. They don't do it as much now. They just more follow the phone apps and react to what's being said on the phone apps and create a narrative story of what the words are coming out of that phone apps. That's what they do now. But in the past, they definitely tried some trickery. There's a video on my channel somewhere where I made a debunking video of one of their clips where there was a fixed camera looking at, I think it was in my head I remember it's like a restaurant or something, I can't remember, and there was one level and you could walk up the stairs to the second level all in the same camera view. And they said, look at this shadow dude we caught on this video. I looked at it. They filmed a clean plate of the restaurant. Then they filmed one of them walking. They filmed one of them getting up from the seat, walking to the stairs, walking up the stairs, and then walking into a room upstairs on the mezzanine. It's plain as day, overlaid footage, filming one clean plate, filming another, dropping the opacity on the ghost layer, and that's how you make that kind of video. I've showed tutorials on that many times over the years, but that was one of their videos, plain as day, caught out red-handed, using a very simple film editing technique. They haven't done that for a long time, but they did do it. And my thing is always, if you fake it once, you're probably going to fake the rest of your stuff. I'm not saying they fake now, I'm just saying, well, deal with it. And that's Twin Paranormal. Do I have a chance to ask one more question? Do you think the paranormal will ever be proven? I don't think I have enough questions now, do I? It's a fascinating question. The future of proving the paranormal depends on several factors. Technology continues to evolve. New tools and methods may emerge that could provide better ways to study paranormal phenomena. For instance, advancements in neuroscience could help us understand how the brain interprets unexplained experiences, while developments in fields like quantum physics might open up new avenues for understanding reality. Quantum physics. I definitely think something lies in that when it comes to the paranormal. Who knows for the future? If researchers from various fields such as psychology, physics, and even philosophy collaborate, they may develop new frameworks for understanding the paranormal. This could lead to more rigorous investigation methods and possibly validate certain experiences. Conclusion: while there's no guarantee that the paranormal will ever definitively be proven, the quest to understand it can lead to deeper insights into consciousness, the human experience, and the nature of reality itself. Whether one believes in the paranormal or not, these questions can be enriching. So that was just a fun video. I thought I'd ask AI what it thinks of the paranormal in general and the tools it's used, and I think it was a really good bloody Q&A between me and Chat GPT. What do you think? Do you think AI is the future of the paranormal? Do you think he's onto something? I'm calling it he because I don't know, whatever. But yeah. That was my paranormal chat with AI. Did AI debunk anything? Did it prove anything? You decide. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you like this video. Leave a sub if you're new to my channel. I do this quite often. Everything I hope mentioned as far as like channels, I'll hopefully link down below. Go check them out. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching and bye for now. And knock at your door, ghost in the night, drifting so soft, you're not alone. They start breaking around till the break of day. Lights everywhere. Jet. Just want to play, dancing around till the break of day.